Hey everyone, I'm Mike from theparkprodigy.com, and on today's video we're going to pretty much go over which rides you should and should not use the Universal Orlando single rider line on. And of course, the Universal Orlando single rider line is essentially a free option, a free queue that guests who are okay maybe splitting up from their party or are trying to get onto some of the rides here at Universal Orlando a little bit quicker can go and take advantage of. So that's why we decided to create this video, to help you try to figure out, because there's a lot of stuff online. I did some research on, hey, these are the best rides to use. Some people say it's worth it, it saves you time. Some people say it does not. So we just did a little bit of research and we decided to create a video to essentially break down which rides are worth it, which rides are not. So if you're in the process of planning a Universal Orlando trip, just be sure to stick around until the end of this video. As always, I'm very excited, so let's go get started. So at this point in time, there are potentially 15 Universal Orlando single rider lines. Now the reason why I say potentially, and I'm trying to fix it, I don't know if there's a glare because of the sun here, but I say potentially because it's not guaranteed that Universal Orlando will have the single rider lines open for the ride. So yes, of course, you can see here, here's the Mummy. They do have the single rider line right there, the entrance anyway, but it's not guaranteed that it will be open, right? So that's important to keep in mind as you come and you plan your days, because again, the tips and tricks we're gonna go over in this video, they might not be able to help you out. So it's a little unfortunate, but again, you can always kind of, have it in your back pocket in case you're trying to save some time. So the first important tip and trick that I will say is that one of the things that I kind of have picked up and, just from reading other guests' kind of reviews and kind of experiences in the parks is, as a general rule of thumb, when trying to figure out if you're going to save time on the Universal Orlando single rider line, you always want to think about how many guests are in a row on this ride. So from what I've read and from my experience over on Hagrid's and the Velocicoaster, essentially when there's 2 guests to a row, it's hit or miss if it's going to save you time. And just because, as you can imagine, when there's 2 guests, it just takes longer to kind of fill guests in, as opposed to when there's 4 rows, right? Or when there's 4 guests to a row, it works a little bit quicker. So if you don't watch anything else in this video, just going into the rides, if you know that there's 4 guests per row, you might want to take a chance and go and try to save some time on that ride. And I'm going to break down the rides that I think will save you time, kind of in an order on what's worth the risk or not, a little bit later in this video. All right, so some other tips and tricks for trying to figure out if you should use the single rider line, the best rides to use it on, best rides not to, right? One of the things to keep in mind is you will be split up from your party. So sometimes, what certain guests might try to do is, hey, there's only 2 of us, we'll hop on the single rider line, hope that they sit us together, or ask that they will sit you together. Unfortunately, they will not sit you together. So that's very important understanding coming into this, right? Especially based on the ride that you're trying to use a single rider line on. The other important thing to keep in mind is, who is this the right fit for, right? Who is the single rider line perfect for? I would say maybe for those families who have, kids who are different ages. So one child might be a little bit older and they're really excited to go on the roller coasters, but the other kids are, a little bit too young to get on them just yet. So this is the perfect opportunity for maybe that older child to go hop on the single rider line, get on, get off, and the family maybe grabs a snack or whatever it might be. The other really, really important thing to keep in mind is when using the single rider line, like we are going to break down in this video, you might not see the regular queue. So that is very important for a lot of theme park fans, especially when it comes to rides like the one behind me, which is in Hogwarts Castle. The queue in Forbidden Journey is amazing. My personal opinion is, I think it's worth the wait, but again, if you're trying to save the most time, you'll see, I think this is the best ride to go and save time using this single rider line on. All right, so next I'm essentially going to break down and rank the rides that I believe it's worth it to use the single rider line on, rides that we feel like it's not worth it. We're actually going to do this in order, starting from the rides we feel like it's not worth it. And essentially the way I'm breaking this down is I'm looking at the average wait time for the ride, but then I'm also taking into account if it's a 4 ride to a row, 4 person to a row attraction, and so on, like which rides I kind of feel like are guaranteed to save you time. And that's really the main focus of what we're trying to do here. And you're going to be surprised, essentially, just because I feel like it is hit or miss. You don't know if you're going to save time on the first 2 rides on this list, which might surprise some people. And that is going to be starting one with the Jurassic World Velocicoaster with an average wait time of 75 minutes to 120 minutes. The main reason why I'm starting with I don't think it's worth it is because you have to go through the metal detector. This ride is already just a very, very long queue to begin with. So it is very hit or miss if you're going to save time on this ride, especially with the way that they load guests on. Then going to number 14, I do have Hagrid's Magical Creatures Motorbike Adventure. My honest opinion for this one is if you're trying to save as much time as possible, try to figure out a way to take advantage of early park admission or come back and be some of the last guests to go and hop onto this ride late at night, because this has an average wait time of 80 to 110 minutes. And again, some people swear by using the single rider line for this ride, but some people just say, hey, it does not work at all. Skip it. Do not try the single rider line, because I waited longer than the regular standby. Next, we have Fast and the Furious in at number 13. The main reason why I have this ride so high, I don't think it's worth it, is it just has an average wait time of 23 to 55 minutes. And I do believe that you pretty much will get, you're not going to save that much time, if that makes sense. I'm trying to figure out the right way with the lights. Over to number 12, I have Dr. Doom's Fearfall, average wait time of 16 to 30 minutes. I just don't feel like you're going to save that much time. I do feel like you will get on that relatively quickly. In at number 11, we have Jurassic Park River Adventure, 24 to 50 minutes. Not the best to use it on. 10 is Men in Black Alien Attack, average wait time of 22 to 55 minutes. Then over to number 9, we have Transformers The Ride 3D, average wait time of 29 to 65 minutes. Next is Skull Island, average wait time of 30 to 70 minutes. Now here's where it really is, I would say, the top 7 rides to use a single rider line on. In at 7, I have The Amazing Adventures of Spider-Man. You're gonna save possibly 30 to 50 minutes right there. In at number 6, we have Dudley Do-Rights. We have potential 21 to 70 minutes, so you could see there would be significant savings. In at number 5, we have Revenge of the Mummy. I have 30 to 60 minutes. In at 4, we have Hollywood Rip Ride Rocket at 38 to 75 minutes. And the top 3 rides to use the Universal Orlando single rider line on. In at number 3, I have the Incredible Hulk Coaster, saving you 40 to 55 minutes, or that's the average wait time. In at number 2, we have Harry Potter and the Escape from Gringotts, with an average wait time of 45 to 120 minutes. And then in at number 1, surprising for me to put this at number 1 just because of how I feel about this ride, but we have Harry Potter and the Forbidden Journey in at saving you, or an average wait time of 38 to 90 minutes. And from everything I've read online and my own personal experience back in the day, the single rider line on this ride works very, very well, especially when there is a longer, wait time for this ride. Just the way that they load guests onto this ride, you can save a significant amount of time by taking advantage of the single rider line for this one. All right, so hopefully you have enough to try to figure out, which single rider lines you're going to try to get on based on, my little ranking, and then essentially the estimated, average wait times based on the time of year that you're visiting. So next though, this is really, really fun for us to rank, and this is going to be essentially the queues that you might not want to miss based on how cool they are. So these are the queues or the rides that you might want to go and actually wait and avoid using the single rider line on. So starting at number 5, we do have Hagrid's Magical Creatures Motorbike Adventure. Over to number 4, right behind me, we do have Skull Island Reign of Kong. Over to number 3, we do have The Amazing Adventures of Spider-Man. Over to number 2, and we do have, this is the same order as essentially the ones that are going to save you time also might not be the ones that you want to skip. In at number 2, we have Harry Potter and the Escape from Gringotts. In at number 1, we have Harry Potter and the Forbidden Journey. So those are essentially all of the queues that you might not want to skip here at Universal Orlando. I feel like I'm on I think they're really busy runway to do this at. But that is the list, everyone. Those are essentially trying to help you figure out which rides to use the single rider line on, which rides to skip and not use the single rider line on here at Universal Orlando. Thank you for sticking around all the way till the end of this video. And as a thank you for sticking around all the way till the end, I do have a special promo code you can go use on our website. And that promo code is going to be YouTube25. But I think that's all the time we have for today. Thank you guys again so much for checking out this video. And until next time, I will talk to you soon.